Hello, welcome to Jocelyn O'Neill's personal vision presentation for religion and ethics. In this presentation, I'm going to talk about my core values, my background of how I got to those core values, some experiences that have had an influence on my values and my belief systems, and how the R&E curriculum has also had an impact. My central value is life, and its quality and sustainability. When I was 14, my direct experiences taught me about the consequences of not having intellectual autonomy. And since then, I have worked to develop an ideological framework based on the philosopher Foucault's work. Over this period, I have been able to observe the operations of Foucault's panopticism and its application of disciplinary mechanisms, and I continue to see it as the primary threat to quality and security of life of the masses today. Underpinning the panopticism system is dependence on external social environments for the conceptualization of identity and self-worth, threatening human quality of life by causing significant emotional and existential volatility, and restricting individuals from engaging critically with their environments in order to choose to be mobilized or not to be mobilized by the media that could cause them harm. This is my background. I'm dedicated to bringing intellectual autonomy to the masses, and my values all serve a pragmatic function in achieving that goal. Where some of my key values are independent self-worth and identity, self-allegiance, education, and discipline. These values influence my spirituality in terms of how I connect with others, as well as what my purpose is and how I structure my life to serve it. I prioritize building independent self-worth in my day-to-day life, educating others, and opening dialogue around relevant ideas and behavior patterns that indicate panopticism functions. My values impact my religious understanding through awareness of the potential danger of collective ideology and identity dependence on systems of member embedded within organized religion. It raises concerns about the internalization of appropriate and inappropriate behavior, or behavior that was rewarded and seen as valuable versus not, and how that affects the individual freedom of reality and action. My personal story, a personal experience I've had that has shaped my perspective on life, morality, and spirituality, is when my mom tells me stories about my grandpa who passed away before I was born. He was a German immigrant who moved to Canada and bought a farm because that was his dream. Mom has an extreme amount of admiration for him and his character. She tells me simple stories about him, like how he used to love to ski and how she used to run out on the farm to hang out with him while he worked. She speaks of his selflessness, his loyalty, his discipline, and his temperance. This was very impactful to me because when I look at my mom and how she has raised me, I see those characteristics embodied within who I am and how I understand personal pride and love for family. I learned from him and my mom about how values determine the impact you leave on the world, and I strive to uphold a moral character that would make my grandpa proud. So given my framework and my background for my values, a specific social justice issue I am passionate about is opening a dialogue around self-worth, in terms of how mainstream society has contextualized its foundations, and I aim to promote a sense of urgency in developing new foundations that function independently from external validation. My care about this cause is a direct result of both my personal values as well as my spirituality, as they provided a perspective capable of recognizing the necessity of self-worth when installing intellectual autonomy. Now, in order to achieve this goal, I intend to structure my life in line with my values. I will do this through self-education, advocating for self-allegiance and intellectual autonomy through skillful communication, and potentially the development of a new early learning education curriculum with foundational ties to the Montessori framework and Foucault's practices of the self. In my daily life, I will continue to educate myself on relevant literature in a scheduled time block, and after I graduate, I will volunteer at a Buddhist temple in Nepal, and then travel to different countries to develop a global perspective. From there, I will seek higher education, maybe, and prioritize improving my financial position in order to leverage financial and social capital and become a distinct public voice. Now, over the past year, in the R&E, the Religion and Ethics course, there have been two topics that really stood out to me. The topic of AI and the social justice fundraiser have influenced my personal vision and actions through education and the opportunity to consolidate and refine my ideas. In the short essay on AI and its implications for social justice, I had the opportunity to practice applying political and economic tools such as the universal basic income to real-world problems. This taught me about the importance of balance in a complex, multidimensional issue. Further, in the Prep for Social Justice fundraiser, I learned about the United Nations Sustainability Goals, which gave me clearer understanding of international values and intentions, which helped me to identify where I can add value in the future. Thank you for listening to my presentation. I hope it was valuable.